A very good day to all of you. Today we are going to continue the third part of Lesson 8 from Grade 10 Health and Physical Education lesson series. And the lesson is on maintaining a healthy body. So in this part of the lesson, we are going to talk about the excretory system. The excretory system is a system that removes waste materials from the body. Kidneys are the main organs in the excretory system, and they filter waste materials and excrete them as urine. So as you can see in the figure, you have right kidney, left kidney. We all have a pair of kidneys. And then there are ureters coming from each kidney, and then the ureters connect to the bladder and ends with the urethra. If we talk about kidneys, the kidney is a bean-shaped organ. It shapes like a bean and it's actually red-brown in color. Not only in the pictures we see, but in reality it's red-brown in color. And also it is located in the abdominal cavity. It's located in the abdominal cavity and it's located behind the intestines. The kidneys perform some of the functions in our body. The main function is, as we all know, that it removes waste from the body and maintain the balance of fluid and minerals. Apart from this, there are many other functions which are performed by the kidneys. Another function performed by the kidneys are that it releases hormones which help to produce red blood cells. So it contributes in a way to produce red blood cells in our body. It also produces vitamin D. It contributes to produce vitamin D in our body and also helps to control blood pressure in our body. There are some other organs which contribute to excretion of certain materials from our body other than the kidneys. So as we have discussed so far, the kidneys filter waste materials from the blood and remove them as urine. They help to maintain the balance of water, salts, and other essential substances in the body. So other than the kidneys, lungs and skin also perform an excretory function in the body. The lungs remove carbon dioxide and water vapor, which are waste products of respiration. And when it comes to skin, the skin excretes sweat which contains water, salts and small amounts of urea as well. So sweating helps our bodies to regulate body temperature and remove certain waste substances as well. So all these organs, they work together to ensure that harmful metabolic waste is effectively removed from the body. In this slide, we are going to talk about the nephron. Nephron is the functional unit as well as the basic structural unit of the kidney. So nephron is responsible for filtering blood and forming urine. So although we say that this happens in the kidney, it particularly happens in the nephron. Nephron filters blood and forms urine. So we have two kidneys and each kidney contains about 1 million nephrons and they are mostly located in the cortex. Here you can see the cortex shown by letter B, and most of the nephrons are mostly located in the cortex of the kidney. Then we are going to learn about the process of urine formation in the nephron. So the first step in urine formation is filtration. So in filtration, what happens is the blood enters the glomerulus. Here's the glomerulus. Now blood is entering the glomerulus under high pressure. Glomerulus is a network of tiny capillaries. And here waste materials, excess water, salts and other small molecules, they can pass through the Bowman's capsule and then they enter the nephron tubule. So this nephron tubule, like inside the nephron tubule, whatever gets filtered through the Bowman's capsule is collected and it's called the filtrate. It forms the filtrate. And then the next in the process is reabsorption. So while the filtrate passes through the nephron tubule down here, useful substances like glucose, amino acids, and some water are reabsorbed into the blood as the filtrate moves down. So you can see that there are blood vessels around the tubule, nephron tubule. So while the filtrate passes through the tubule, if there are any material which needs to be reabsorbed like glucose, amino acids and maybe some amount of water, they will be reabsorbed into the blood. They are taken back to the body. And then next in the process is secretion. So this is the site of secretion and absorption. So additional waste, like while the filtrate passes down through the nephron tubule, if there are additional waste, toxins and excess ions in the blood vessels, they are again secreted into the filtrate. And then comes the urine formation site. So now the final filtrate is now called the urine. It moves from the collecting ducts. So there are many collecting ducts, each coming from the nephrons. So these collecting ducts, then they are connected to the ureter. So urine is then temporarily stored in the bladder. Bladder is a flexible and an expandable organ. When the bladder is full, its muscular walls contract and then the urine is excreted through the urethra. So that's basically what happens in urine formation. So this process ensures the entire process of urine formation and excretion ensures that waste materials are removed efficiently from the body, while at the same time essential nutrients and water are reabsorbed into the body in order to maintain the fluid balance in the body. Now we are going to talk about some of the common disorders of the excretory system. So one such disorder is kidney and bladder stones. So these stones can be found in kidneys as well as in the bladder. They are formed due to the accumulation of calcium, uric acid or oxalate crystals. It might depend from one person to another. The common symptoms are severe back pain, severe abdominal pain, and difficulties in urinating and sometimes even blood in urine. So some of the treatments which are used for kidney and bladder stones are some of the small stones, like around 60% of the small stones either in kidneys or bladder, they pass naturally through urine. So drinking a lot of water might help. Or else there is lithotripsy. It's a shock wave treatment which breaks large stones into smaller pieces. Again, when you drink a lot of water, it can help you to pass the stones out through urine. But if the stones are very large and like they cannot be passed through the ureters, that means through urine, surgery is required in such instances. There are also certain other medications given for people having kidney stones or bladder stones. So these medications, they relax the muscles in the ureters and help such people to pass the kidney stones more quickly with less pain. Another disorder is renal failure or kidney failure. So kidneys lose their ability to filter blood and remove waste. So kidneys lose their basic functioning when it comes to a kidney failure. So some of the common symptoms are fatigue, vomiting, weight loss, high blood pressure, even swelling and loss of appetite. So there are several risk factors which can cause kidney failure. Certain chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension can cause a person to have kidney failure. Or else certain other factors like dehydration in the long run and smoking and exposure to environmental chemicals, especially in areas like Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa. This is a rising issue in Sri Lanka. So environmental chemicals in the sense like insecticides, pesticides, people get exposed to these things in various ways. So they are also risk factors for kidney failures. And then there are two types of kidney failure. One is acute, which is like a sudden kidney damage due to infections, snake bites or leptospirosis, but these are reversible. That means one can recover from acute kidney failure. But then there is chronic renal failure or chronic kidney failure. These are like long-term kidney damages, and it's really hard to recover from them, like barely. So it requires dialysis or kidney transplant. So chronic kidney failure is so common in areas like Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa in Sri Lanka, and they are very serious issues. The next type of disorder is kidney and bladder cancer. So there are various types. So some of the types we can cite here are renal carcinoma or kidney cancer, and bladder cancer are the most common types. And causes are smoking, chemical exposure like we discussed before, maybe certain types of other chronic infections like even bacterial and so-called infections, and even certain genetic factors can contribute to kidney and bladder cancer. Some of the common symptoms are blood in urine, back pain, and weight loss. Surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation therapy are some of the treatments used to heal kidney and bladder cancer. And the other type of disorder related to this system is urinary tract infection, or commonly known as UTI. So bacterial infections in the kidneys, bladder, or urethra might cause the UTI. And some of the symptoms are frequent urination, the burning sensation one gets during urinating, cloudy urine or bloody urine, and fever. So the common treatments are antibiotics and increased fluid intake. They are given to flush out the bacteria in the body. So there are several ways how excretory system diseases can be prevented. So one of the most recommended ways is drinking enough clean water. Like we discussed before, increased fluid intake, because water helps to flush out toxins and prevent kidney stones and any other infections. So it's important that you drink enough water, especially clean water, almost every day. And avoid taking unprescribed medicines, especially painkillers. Some of the painkillers, they can damage the kidneys if taken frequently, therefore has to be really careful. Limit salt intake, especially for babies, because too much salt increases the risk of kidney damage and high blood pressure. And when it comes to babies, their kidneys are not fully developed, so it's recommended to avoid adding salt to their food before 1 year. So limiting salt intake is also one of the ways to prevent excretory system diseases. Another strategy is to control diabetes and blood pressure, because high sugar and high pressure levels can damage the kidneys over time, causing kidney failure. So controlling such diseases, or else preventing yourself from getting such diseases, is one of the best ways. And also, do not hold urine for long. Like holding urine for too long also can cause infections and put stress on the bladder. Reduce chemical pollution and agrochemical use. Chemicals in water and food, some of these chemicals can cause kidney diseases. So it's important if we can use eco-friendly alternatives. And then finally, use water filters when necessary. If clean water is not available, use water filters to remove harmful chemicals and bacteria. Like unless you are drinking bottled water, you might have to use water filters all the time. So that brings us to the end of the lesson. Thank you very much for listening, and subscribe the channel to stay tuned for more lessons. See you next time.